Hello world! Look at that Frida Reba Darcy and Patricia O'Connor. We are the Bonsai balcony, and today, here we go, this is our little babe on our mark. Today we're gonna do a little bit about watering. Our last couple of shows were kind of long, and but they were good shows. They're doing rather well. We appreciate you. But I went and rotated our trees around, some of our bigger trees. Didn't rotate that, did rotate that. Rotated my cork bark oak, rotated my Japanese cork bark black pine, and I rotated my 20-year seed. So we're seeing a different side to all of these guys. And so this when I'm looking at this tree now, I'm looking at the side that had been facing out there, and it's different than the side that faces in. The side that faces in gets watered while I stand here and stare out into the, just look out over there, and I'm sitting here just pouring the water. And the other side has to be a little bit more deliberate. And I can show you what that means better on one of the other trees. But here on the balcony, I'm just going to show you. It's not like everybody has a balcony, but this is kind of like my watering procedure. As you see, right now I'm just kind of messing around. I'm not really watering. Also, it's harder to do one-handed when I'm filming. But what I'm trying to do is put a little bit of water all over the surface and let that little bit of water that I just sprayed there soak in. That means that I can now water more deliberately without it immediately pouring over the side. And if it takes a minute, that's okay. Go on to another tree and come back to that one. Nice look at the maple. We can see that it's taking up water nicely. It's going right in there. Now you may have noticed I'm not watering the maple, nor did I water the oak over the top of the tree. As opposed to this pine, watch that. I'll just, I can just sit there and just splash all over the pine. I don't want to water the foliage on my oaks. That will wreck the foliage on an oak especially fast. I have had issues with powdery mildew or spider mites on an oak, and then go for my bottle of neem and just totally make that even worse. It was like the third plague. They don't like my cork bark and my coastal oak. Neither one like to have its foliage water. If it doesn't even necessarily get powdery mildew or anything, it'll still just wreck the foliage. So I never water overhead on these guys. My pines, different matter. They get a good hosing every once in a while. Keeps all their little needles clean. Keeps them all happy and healthy. There's a lot of dust here. Pat has to dust this apartment quite a bit. And just sitting there and just giving all these guys a good, and like I said, that's something that I would not do. Watering like that is something that I would not do to my oaks, to my maples. These guys have already shown some signs where I've gotten water on they're hard to water without getting it on the leaves. And as soon as you get it on the leaves, it starts getting PM or powdery mildew. The oaks, they just don't like water or any lubricant or any kind of wet or any kind of anything on their leaves, powdery mildew or not. And they will get powdery mildew also, but they don't have to get powdery mildew to not like that. Now, this was the side of this oak, not to change the subject. This is the side of the oak that was facing outside no more than an hour ago. I bet it's still, yeah. The pot feels ambient, but I bet, you see how the sun is shining on that side now. It's getting acquainted with what this has been going through. And this is the side that's been facing me. And you can see that it's still dark, showing that it hasn't gone completely adobe dry. Whereas this is starting to look like it's got more of a baked earth look to it. And the only difference is it's been facing the sun, and I have to water this by reaching around the tree. I have to reach around this tree to water it, which makes it more difficult. And over time, this side dries out faster than the other side, which is why rotating this tree is important. And the same as last time, I wet it down first. I give it a good little wet down. I think it was Tom at Grow and Clip for Seniors who said that little trick about wetting the soil first when you see it's wanting to run off really fast breaks the surface tension. Now, what you've seen me do is water with my small watering can, and that's what helps me get in here and break if I come in here all guns a-blazing with my larger watering can, which is also going to be harder to do one-handed. I'm just going to give you this is not quite accurate because I don't water this one-handed like a he person. But if I started just throwing this much water to the top of that plant to begin with, most of it would have just went over the side. So this is, like right now, I didn't break the surface tension in this cypress tree, so you see that I'm wetting down the surface, but that first bit that splashed on there, it ran off faster than it soaked in. I think now I'll better be able to water. And I'm kind of slinging it everywhere all one-handed, but normally when I water the bald cypress, ever since about 2 years ago, I tried to make a point to stop deliberately hosing this and this. I don't want to increase the decay or rot, and that's also why you see cut paste in there. I want to try to preserve those pieces of that fluted base there. Yeah, I like the way that looks. So yeah, also this is a quick look at how those guys are looking since I started cutting back some of the vibricated stuff. I'll be glad to see when something else comes out down here and starts growing in my way again. I kind of miss having the foliage out here in my way, giving the tree a little broader stance, but that's what we've got coming. So yeah, I watered this yesterday. I don't think it needs water today, although I will keep an eye on that. Larger pots take longer to go through all of their water. This guy was high and dry, and it got a good watering yesterday, and the 80 year needs to get its water on. Let me see if I can change hands and make this happen. I think I've got A, enough water in here to do this, and B, not so much that I can't do it one-handed. But this is kind of how I'll water. That's kind of how I'll water this guy. All right, as I was threatening to do yesterday, I moved our literati black pine out there to the edge, and they are enjoying that. That tree seems to be enjoying that spot. So says me. And then that's pretty much. Don't water the foliage on your oaks. Don't water the foliage on your maples. I wouldn't water the foliage on my bald cypress trees. Now, if I had to worry about that, I would probably try to get a freestanding fan, like some big freestanding fan, so that if I got water on the leaves, I could blow it off. Any water that's left standing on there, especially in my particular part of the woods here in California, just it doesn't turn into a white water stain. It just turns into powdery mildew. I don't know, the spores, I guess they're everywhere, and they find every drop of water, and if they dry in spot, they set in. So it seems about that simple to me when it comes to PM. But then I can hose down your pines and get some of the urban blight off of them and let them enjoy their good watering. That's our little spot. That didn't hurt a bit. That was just Pat going through. I'll refill my watering cans, but y'all don't need to see me go to the bathtub and refill watering cans just to come in here and do that again. But I have a large watering can that I can download lots of water quickly, but it's a good idea to wet the surface and break the soil tension first. I have certain trees that I can definitely just dump water over the top of them and let them and the ones next to them get all the water they need and get all their needles or leaves clean. And then I have trees for which that's not a good idea. And I don't water the leaves of my oaks. Okay, I'm not going to make this long. Like and subscribe if you guys have not already. Our next drop will be midweek when I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow after work. I know tomorrow I'll go to work, but after that I don't know what I'm going to do. I appreciate you. Frida appreciates you. And thank you all so much for watching.